Hi. So as you can tell by the title, this video is going to be mostly devoted to things around family. I went to Long Island last weekend to see a lot of my mom's side of the family. I actually got to see all six of her sisters and a lot of their kids, which was great. Um, some live in Long Island, but the others were visiting from Chicago or upstate or New Jersey. And I got to see my five youngest cousins. There are these five boys that are ages 4 to 9 now that are so cute, and it was really heartbreaking to leave and say goodbye. Because I haven't seen the family in like 3.5 years. I came from my grandma's funeral my freshman year of college, and I've changed so much since then, and they've changed so much. And it was like great to be able to catch up with a lot of my cousins, to see these young boys and have them be like part of the family now and not just like infants or toddlers. And to see my aunts. It was aunts and uncles. It was great. So my heart was a little bit broken when I left. But it reminds me of like one of the reasons that it's been really cool for me to move to this coast because I can just like go for a weekend that everyone's there. Um, yeah. Um, the other so so that was like one big family thing for me this week that's been really precious. There's been another big family thing this week that's been more frustrating and taken a lot of time for me to work through in my own brain. But it's been a really important part of the process of me being here, I think, and so I'm going to share it with you. And I don't mean to make any accusations or villainize or anything. It's just my own thoughts shared about a topic that I care a lot about. So, a lot of my dad's side of the family in the last week and a half has become really concerned with me taking the subway home late at night. Um, I understand, and I really do understand that their fears come from really caring that I'm safe and caring about me, mostly in terms of not getting mugged. But I really disagree. I disagree with a lot of the logics behind it. Not to say that I disagree with them as people, but um, I'm coming from a different place with different thoughts. So it's been a struggle for me to come to terms with. I ended up reaching a solution because I've been working closing shifts where I get off work by 1:30 and get home by 3 on the subway. I've been working closing shifts for the last few weeks, always on Tuesday and Wednesday. So my dad and I reached the solution that I'm going to work them on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday nights because that way there'll be more people around and he's more comfortable with it and his family will be more comfortable with it. So and I especially care, if anything did happen to me, my dad would be the first responder, so it's like, okay, Cynthia, like I do have to respect that even if I would by myself make a different choice, which I don't know. But here, okay, so first of all, I want to talk about the reasons that it's worthwhile for me to keep this job, um, even when I'm now sacrificing my weekend nights, but also like going home that late in general, which isn't fun. I get tired the next day. The closing shifts are mostly cleaning. Like, so why is it worth it for me when I have an opportunity now to back out? Um, to still stay there, and to go out of my way to stay there, especially because it's close to a fast food industry. It's a little bit higher quality, but a lot of the tasks are the same. I spend most of my time working with milkshakes, either scooping or spinning, toasting the buns or setting them up with lettuce and tomato, cheesing burgers, dropping hot dogs, dropping french fries, interacting with the guests sometimes, selling their orders. I'm going to learn cash register soon, but that's basically what my time consists of, making sure everything's stocked, sometimes prepping like vegetables, pickles and cucumber if we're running low, things like that. But it's very routine, very regular. It's not like academically or intellectually stimulating, which I think is part of what I need right now, taking a break from school. I think I got really burnt out by the end of last year, and I am too familiar with the classroom, so now this is a really welcome break. But on the other hand, I could probably find a job that's doing a lot of the same things somewhere else. So what it comes down to for me is really about the people that I'm working with. I love my coworkers. Most of my coworkers I love. Obviously, there's some that I don't click with or don't get along with, but for for the most part, they're really cool people, like cool and fun, and also really good people. Like I've just enjoyed making personal relationships with a lot of them, and I look up to a lot of them. The other thing for me is that so I mentioned before that I'm one of the only white people in the kitchen, and this is really an experience for me where I'm totally immersed in the like non-dominant or like just not my own upbringing or not my own culture. So most of the workers in the kitchen are African American. Most of the janitorial staff um, only speak Spanish, and most of the managers are white. There are exceptions in every category, but if I were like volunteering, I've thought about like volunteering at a youth center or volunteering at a like HIV/AIDS crisis center, and like all those things would be really rewarding, and I might still pursue them. But right now, there's no. If I was a volunteer working with a community, it would be like me coming in from the outside and kind of not imposing, but it was just this is like a totally immersive experience where I am in someone else's world. I'm in their world, and it's not like I'm welcoming them into my world, or even like there's no wall between me as a like potential volunteer versus someone who's like who has a volunteer helping them. Like it's just me interacting with them on a really one-on-one level, and it's so valuable to me. In like being part of their conversations and even like the different slang and the way they talk, and it's just it's like so fun for me to be part of. And they're really sweet to me. I don't know. I think they think it's funny how much I enjoy being around them. But so that's been great. Like I really can't speak highly enough about it from my experience, and I think it's really good for me. It also adds to my frustration about the fear of me getting on the subways late for a few reasons. The first reason is that all of them, everyone I work with does late shifts. There's no one who's exempt from closing. That includes the managers, two of whom are white women who are smaller than I am. But it also includes all of my coworkers, and a lot of them are going to either going farther than I am, into like the edges of the Bronx or Queens, or they're going to worse neighborhoods than I am, or they're going home to their kids. A lot of them have kids, and they're mostly between ages 20 to 24. And they have to get up in the morning and take their kid to school when they get home that late, and like I don't have to do that. And so for me, if they have to do it, it's like how can I claim to be like how can I try to be an exception when I don't have any of those concerns or responsibilities? Also, I've never felt unsafe late at night, and they don't feel unsafe. And I think a lot of the concern about it comes from people who don't ride the subway late at night. And I think that I've been in situations where I think even unintentionally, a lot of the fear about riding home late at night is grounded in racism. And I say that because when I'm riding the train late, I'm often with I'm always with a majority of people of color around me, and there's usually a lot of black men riding home. And I attribute that to the fact that they're working crappier jobs. The crappier jobs are ones where you have to go home at 2 in the morning. If they could afford to, they wouldn't be getting home that late. But all of them are heading home. All of them, I think of it in the context in some ways that I think about Trayvon Martin, that I think they have more to be concerned for their safety, like, than I do. And they really go out of their way, I think, to try to be non-threatening, and I don't know how that feels at all. Nobody's ever looked at me as if I'm a threat just by being there. And I've had some situations where, one time I smiled at this construction worker as I was walking by, and he was like, "What a nice smile. Can I see that smile again?" And so I smiled at him. I thought, I was laughing. And he said, "I'm going to snatch that smile right off your face." And he was laughing, and I walked by. And I think other people would have been like, "Oh, my God, he said he was going to snatch it." Like, I'm so, like I just narrowly avoided a bad situation, and it's like, no, like that's his way of being kind to somebody. And like another guy who I was looking at a map when I was first navigating the subways, this another black guy, and he said like, like, oh, where are you trying to get to? Like, and he was helping me out with directions, which was great. And then he's like, oh, and I said, I recently moved here from California. And he's like, oh, well, where are you staying? And I said, Washington Heights. And we were talking, and at the end, he's like, okay, when you leave your family, give me a call. And it's like harmless, like totally joking around. And I've had mostly situations like that, and maybe I'm being naive, but I really don't think so. And I really do feel safer, and I think a lot of it is expanding the associations we have with specifically different racial groups, but also, um, I don't know, scenarios in general. So I'll let you know if I'm wrong and if I get mugged. I don't think I will. And I'll keep you updated about it. Thanks for listening, and I hope you're doing well. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.